Give us a general idea of what all got done between in the off-season getting ready for spring.
Sure. Just started off. Well, we started, we had about a 7.5 week program, right around 7.5 weeks. We finished right before spring break. We thought it went really well. We kind of met yesterday as a strength staff and discussed, some of the things we liked and, the positives of our program. And we thought that a lot of our younger guys stepped up and, had some of their better off seasons that they've ever had, which was really good for us as a team. In terms of numbers, we always strive to overload each week to get stronger in some way, to get improve, whether it's through heavier weight or through more repetitions. But again, as a whole, I thought one of our goals was our younger guys had to step up and get better, and I thought they did that.
You look at a guy like Preston Smith. Jeff Collins told me the other day that he's kind of a guy coming in as a freshman a couple years ago. Maybe some people didn't like his size potential, but now he's up to 250, 260. I mean, what are you seeing from him this offseason, just getting bigger and adding to his repertoire?
His size has been pretty good lately. He's a true junior. I think he's athletic. I think he's explosive. He's strong. He can run for days. Really conditioned guy. So I think he's got to be a great player for us, and I think he took the steps necessary to do that this offseason. He's still developing. Because he didn't redshirt. Really, if he redshirts, he's a sophomore only. So even though he's a junior, he's a guy that's still developing and getting better, and kind of working towards the maximum that he can be.
How big is he right now?
About 255.
When you're recruiting a guy like that, how do you determine whether he's a guy who can develop into a bigger guy as opposed to just staying smaller?
It depends a lot on their genetic potential. We try to do a great job nutritionally with our breakfast clubs and our training tables, and especially when they're young, those first couple of years of staying on top of their meals, because that's a big deal too, is how they're eating and how they're recovering. And it's basically based on genetic potential, what his body can handle and still not lose his ability to be at his best on the field. And to answer your question, how do we know? You really don't know until they get here and start training and start eating consistently and those kinds of things.
Quay looked, obviously, when he came to campus, he had some pounds to get rid of, and he looked very slimmed down during bowl reps. Where is he kind of at right now with his weight?
He's probably he goes back and forth. He'll carry his weight well, then he'll get a little heavy, carry it well, and he battles with weight in terms of where I think his ideal weight is. He's a big kid. He's going to be a big kid. He's going to be a big explosive kid. Still young, still learning how to maintain that consistency in terms of body weight and being where he needs to be on the field. I don't know if he's exactly sure yet where that is. We're still kind of developing.
How are those four newcomers kind of adjusted to and adapted to what you're throwing at them right now?
They're doing well. I think Justin Cox, they all have great work ethics. Kevon, who are the other two? Artemis and Chappelle. Chappelle's doing a great job. Chappelle's got a great work ethic. Cox, Kevon, Artemis a little bit younger. He's kind of developing. I mean, they're all developing, but I was pleased, as a whole with those guys, because it's never easy just coming in, to a new program, at any level, let alone ours. We go so hard. We throw a lot at them in terms of the expectations of effort and toughness. It's Coach Mullen's main deal, in our off-season program, relentless effort. And so that's the expectation every single day. But I thought they did a good job.
During this time of year, do you ever get a sense of certain players that might have a kind of a breakout spring, so to speak, just based on their off-season work?
I thought like I said, I thought a lot of our young kids picked it up, and we expect and we need them to have good springs. You need all those kids to step up and play, because we don't have very many seniors, as you know, and so those juniors and sophomores all have to come through for. So based on what they did, we expect it to be really good.
Who were some of those younger guys that kind of stepped up as far as leadership and work ethic?
I think Jamerson Love did a really, really solid job. He's got to come up and fill in for two phenomenal players, as you know. So I thought he stepped up and kind of made his presence known, and which we have to have. Preston Smith's another guy that did that. Bohanna, is a guy that stuck out to me. We've got a lot of great linebackers right now, Deontay and McKinney, who's a young guy, but also came back and attacked it again, Bernardrick McKinney. So the linebackers, I thought, did a really good job this offseason. And those DBs, like I said, they're young, but Love sticks out to me as a guy that came. Jay Hughes, another guy, did a great job, a really good job. So
is that kind of the normal thing that you see when young guys feel like, well, I can get some really specific playing time this next fall, and I can be a starter? You see like the big jump between, like, not maybe when they get here in year one, but year one and year two.
You do, because now they know they've got an opportunity to get some reps and to really be a factor. So the importance of what they're doing in the offseason really even becomes more important for them.
Where it's not like they're totally new, where maybe they're asking you questions of what can I do, when you're not around, kind of thing going on there.
You had a lot of talented guys in redshirted last year, and guys like the Browns and A.J. Jefferson and Will Redmond, ones like that. Talk about the now full-year review and what you've seen from some of those guys.
Yeah, those are a talented group of guys, and the guys you mentioned, those are good, hard-working kids. They're all, I think, kids that will do real well here. I think the coaches, Coach Mullen and his staff did a great job recruiting great, talented players, and in our program, because of the demands of effort, the demands of toughness, and what we do, their bodies pretty much either they're going to get better or they're going to get worse. You're not going to ever stay the same in our program. And all those kids you just mentioned have gotten better. They're all on their way to, I really think, great things. I know our coaches, really think the same thing. They're all talented. They're all willing to work. They're all willing to get after it.
Well, y'all got this nice new facility, nice weight room and all
Oh,
that
yeah.
stuff. And obviously, I guess that helps, but you just still have to keep the guys focused on it still, just putting in the work, no matter what the weight
Right.
room looks like and all that.
And they've done, from day one, we felt so honored to be in here and really humbled by it all, the weight room and the whole building. I mean, look where we're sitting right now. And we just talk about giving back, and being able to appreciate this facility, to treat it the right way, to take pride in it. And I know the guys look at training in the new facility is kind of a neat deal, day in and day out. It's an experience, because it's so big and it flows so well. It's a great place to train. I mean, we're always going to train hard. We're always going to get after it. But to have a place like this to train is a great feeling of pride too.
What's the process kind of like? You got guys, maybe switching positions. Christian Holmes from linebacker to tight end. Caleb Ewells maybe going inside from end to tackle. Is this kind of an important time of year for them to change their bodies a little bit for what they're about to do?
It just depends on, again, how they're going to be able to play and how their bodies will react while they play. What we do is we're a lean body mass type program. What I mean by that is we want to keep lean body mass on the guys. We're not looking to lose muscle. We're not looking to increase weight just to put weight on. So whatever position you're changing to, if you're changing to a position that requires you to be heavier, then we want to make sure we do that with lean body mass. If you're moving to a position that requires you to be leaner, then we don't want to lose muscle, we want to lose body fat. And so those are the things we talk about with the guys now. And when they go out to spring ball and they compete, then they'll, come back and say, yes, this helped me, the lean body mass I gained was effective for me. I can still move, I'm still explosive, I still feel strong. The lean body, the weight I've lost didn't affect my speed or the weight I've gained didn't affect my speed or my strength, if that makes sense. That's
Yeah.
kind of how we look at it.
Yeah, I was kind of asking you that about Preston, you know, just putting on the size, but he's still a quick player, so you have to find that.
That's the
balance.
key. It's a hard balance, you know, because any position that, you know, you put weight on a person, you have to make sure that you're not taking away from their talents. You're not taking away from their ability to move and be explosive. So that's a big thing now with spring ball now to kind of watch and evaluate. And that's our job as a strength staff, is to communicate with our coaches and during practice and really watch and monitor and see how they move and those types of, you know, and injury prevention is number one, fellas. I mean, that's, if they're not on the field, we didn't do our job. So that's a big part of it as well.
What's your thoughts of, you've had some new coaches to get used to as well. How's that going? New addition?
Oh, love them. They're instantly kind of brought into to Coach Mullen's staff and to Mississippi State, and they've been great. You know, they've been great with the guys. They've been great to work with. It's been fun.
Have you noticed a difference in Michael Carr's work ethic this time around?
You know, he's always been a good worker. I think consistency and sticking with it, and you know, I think he's in better shape because he's been more consistent. I think that's really, you know, where you've seen him really improve is just the consistency and his conditioning now is I mean, I think he's going to have a really good spring.
How was Nick James, one of your Exhibit A's, of guys that the first time around you took a lot off, but now is he where you want him to be, or is it refining him?
He's you know, on his way, you know, developing. He's potentially a star, a superstar. You know, he's just got to keep working, keep getting better, and he is. He's showing good improvements.
Would you get a rough estimate of what he weighs at right now?
Before we left, he was in the low 340s.
Is he happy about that?
Yeah, does well. You know, he's, like I said, you know, he's a big guy. He's explosive. He moves well, and so his thing isn't so much weight as it is in shape and lean body mass, and the weight will come.
Some of the older guys who've been to this 3 or 4 times, it'd be easy maybe for them to think, okay, I've done this before, or this is my last time around. I can maybe not give this quite sooner. Have you seen that from the seniors? Have you seen them kind of pick it up?
No, they've picked it up. They've done a great job. You know, like I said, we don't have a lot of them, so the expectation on them is high, and they've all done well. You know, they've all done well in terms of setting the standard and being leaders, maybe not so much vocally all the time, but more as role models and by action.
Who would you say would be?
Go ahead.
Who would you say among those leaders would you think stood out to you?
Skinner, you know, he's a guy that's day in and day out comes to work just by example, which, you know, again, he's setting the standard for all the linebackers. Danico Autry, you know, is a guy that we thought he set the standard at times with his work ethic. I mean, just really important for us. Gabe Jackson, you know, had a tremendous offseason, set the standard with the O-line and the offense. Tyler Russell's the quarterback, hard-working guy, set the standard with Darius Perkins. You know, these are all guys that had to have great off seasons, and they did.
Is that a good sign too, especially because everybody you mentioned is a starter or a guy who's played a lot?
Well, you know, those seniors, yeah, that's, like I said, if they're not having good off seasons, you know, that's not good for us, you know, and they know that, and they've been with us a long time and understand that, and wouldn't expect anything less.
You talk about the not many upperclassmen, pretty talented redshirt freshman class, and some guys that got some time last year, sophomores. How crucial did you see the feedback in the off season compared to all the position battles that are going to be going on this spring? A lot of spots open, a lot of spots on the depth chart. Did you see that translate into a difference in the weight room?
Yes, there are a lot of spots open, and you know, that's partly why you probably have you know, you had such an increase in those young guys' you know, work ethic and attacking it because of the, you know, their foresight into, okay, this is my chance to get on the field. This is an opportunity for me. And I think they understand the expectations of our program better now. They've been with us longer. You know, that's maturity as well. and maturity as a young man.
Is, with the work ethic you're talking about and the maturity, even though it's a small senior class, have you been able to do anything different this offseason, or maybe adjust some things that you did not do the first 3 or 4 years?
You know, I think what our big goal was this offseason is get back to the basics, really, you know, teach things really well, spend more time teaching things, you know, first rather than just 1,000 miles an hour and attacking. And because I felt like we needed to kind of slow it down a little bit and get all of our young kids on the same page, even our older guys, and teach it really well. And then flick the switch when we needed to flick the switch. I thought, in terms of differences, that's kind of some different things we did. There's always certain things that we do that you have to do in a program that you hang your hat on. But I thought back to the basics of just, you know, being very technically sound and, you know, being able to go as hard as you can on certain exercises at certain times. I thought we really stressed.
You mentioned injury prevention. Just what are some of the bullet points in that? Just with you and your guys, just trying to get guys. And your numbers have been down over the years. It just seems like. But what are some of the things you try to get on in the off season to make
It's
sure
muscular balance in terms of, you know, hamstring to quad strength, making sure hamstrings are strong and trained right. You know, shoulder to back. You know, making sure your posterior delts, your lats, your traps are built up, protecting their necks, excuse me, their necks and their heads, and, you know, making sure our necks are trained properly. The muscles around the joints, you know, are always a goal. You're always trying to, you know, knock on wood, prevent knee injuries and ankle injuries, and, you know, we spend a lot of time training those muscles around those areas. Is there certain numbers that you want to get to in terms of the weight room? No. But you know, we have a plan of how we're going to attack the training, like I just mentioned with balance, that we feel if done properly, you know, the guys should have a better time on the field of lasting. Now, it all starts from Coach Mullen and his expectations, and, you know, his stress on the program and his stress on, you know, flexibility before and after the program and recovery, you know, after practice. I mean, all those things from him, from the position coaches, down us. It's kind of a team, you know, a teamwork type deal that, you know, if we're the only ones preaching, take care of your body, but no one else is, then the importance isn't there. When the head coach all the way down from position coaches are preaching that, then the kids, you know, understand, yeah, this is pretty important, because it's a third training, it's a third nutrition, it's a third recovery. And all those areas have to be hit upon so that the kids have the best chance to stay on the field.
Do you feel like that's kind of the biggest eye-opener for new kids? Because sometimes maybe they haven't had a sophisticated weight room program and they haven't had this type of deal before they got here. Is that kind of the biggest, why am I doing this? And then by the time they're a junior, they kind of get it?
Oh, yeah, because in high school, most of the time they're better than everyone else. So they don't have to strain and go through all the hard things that you have to go through in college. And in college, you know, right away, you have to train at a certain level to get your body to make these gains and to get better and to do this recovery that's needed, because basically when you're training, you're tearing everything down. And so then they have to learn that, okay, I'm tearing it down, but then I got to take care of it afterward. And so that is a battle, because they've never had to do that before.
How different is Nico with you from this time of year? Obviously, he's healthier now. What have you seen him this offseason?
Great, really good. Doing much better.
How will your regimen change now that practice is about to start? Because it's so spread out this spring, to about 2 and 3 practices a week, so presumably you'll get a lot of time with them you might not have had in previous springs.
You know, we're you know, sometimes 2 lifts a week, sometimes 3. Goes back and forth. And, you know, spring ball is very similar to an in-season training phase. Again, you're trying to keep them healthy. Your strength levels, you don't want to dip too much, but the biggest thing is on the field and being able to play at maximum levels, having maximum energy. You know, our goals in the spring ball and the in-season are just, you know, you don't want to lose everything, but it's very hard to keep their strength up, especially in the spring, because you're hitting almost every time you're out there. You know, whereas the in-season, you know, you're not maybe hitting as much as the season goes on. But You know, I think it's going to be very similar to what we've done in the past in terms of what our goals are.
When is your testing post-spring?
For our strength,
Before they go into summer?
strength testing, well, we did that the last week of the offseason. And it's a lot of rep max stuff. And like I said, not so much based on numbers, but, okay, here's your body weight, here's your lean body mass, here's what you did. How close can we stay to that through spring ball? How close can we keep your weight to where it was, you know, as we get into the summertime, and then your weight goals for the actual year?
So spring ball, I think what, 19th or 20th is spring games, so kind of a later ending. You won't have a whole lot of time with them before the semester ends.
No, we do. We get about a week right afterward, and just cleaning some things up, doing some combine testing, you know, some different training that we normally don't have time to do. 40s and pro agility and L drills and things like that. And then they get some time off, which they need to recover, and before we start the summer program.
How proud are you, even though obviously there's a lot of natural talent, but when you saw your guys in the combine testing for pros and watch these guys getting drafted, I mean, how satisfying is that to see? 'Cause you've had these guys now for years.
You're very happy for them. You know, every young guy's dream is to play at that level. And so when you see guys do that, especially our guys who work so hard. I mean, they really work hard. You know, the John Bankses and Slays and the Boyds and the Lawrences and the Bumphuses. These are hard-working, great kids. So it's a great feeling.
What do you do just to, Dak, and you're going to miss the spring, it looks like, just getting him ready for the fall? What do you see from him, just focusing on that now?
He's got to get healthy. You know, he'll be okay. He's just got to get healthy. He's an awesome kid. You know, he'll do whatever it takes to make sure he's ready to go, and we'll help him and our trainers, and he'll be good.
Have you had to be conscious of Tyler being the only healthy, obviously, scholarship quarterback in the spring, and what you do with him in the off season, or is it just kind of the same plan?
Yeah, you know, similar to what we've done. You know, we try to do some more things quarterback specific, you know, with our quarterbacks, but we let him get after it a little bit, you know, and then as we get closer to the off season ending, we start to kind of tailor him more to just quarterback specifics, but nothing much different.
Is there official sign now calling it Balis Mall?